All right, rank and rent SEO. What is it? How to do it? Can you make money with it? Let's go. So rank and rent SEO allows you to be able to create passive income, earn monthly rental income from high ranking websites or from leads, which is actually probably even a better play. You own the digital real estate, so you build it once, rent monthly, and then you continue to profit off of it. And then you could scale it easily. You can use AI tools now to automate and grow with less effort, which makes it a very viable business model. Now, what is rank and rent SEO? You're probably like, well, what do I do? What does this even mean? So basically, it starts with you building a website, right? You build a website and you tailor it around a specific niche and specific local keywords. So usually you do this for local businesses. It's a little bit easier. And then you rank it for those terms. You rank it in Google, but even more important now is to make sure that it's showing up in AI overviews and AI search as well. So once it's ranked, then you rent it to a business seeking leads. So you can either sell leads or you can rent the entire website to that business, and when people go there, they would see that business's information. So that is basically the play. That is the short and sweet of it. Now, here's kind of a real world example here for you, all kind of broken down. So say you want to target like the roofing niche, which in Florida is a very big niche, especially especially around hurricane season. So you would basically start a website. Say it's the Tampa Bay area, so you would do tamparoofrepairexperts.com or something like that. So usually you have the niche and the location. So right here is the location, right here is the niche. So those are the main keywords from an SEO standpoint that really matter, and that's why you want to center your domain around that. Target keywords would be Tampa roof repair, emergency roofing Tampa. So those are kind of good long tail keywords that you can kind of target initially. I mean, there's a lot more than just that. And then the potential rent is $500 to $1,500 a month. That's either renting out that domain for them to put their own information or selling leads, which selling leads could be even more profitable. So let's just say you do the monthly rent at $1,000, your initial investment is $2,000, your ROI is 500%. But again, depending on the niche, you can sell leads for $50, $100, $500, $1,000. So the more money in your niche, the more money you can make. Roofing is just big depending on the area, but it may not be your play. A much better play, a much more viable play, a much more profitable play would be like plastic surgery, or it would be for like lawyers or accountants. But again, there's a lot more clients for roofing, so it can be kind of a mass play, quantity play, rather than just going after the money in it. So here's the exact framework to follow to set this up. So the first thing that you want to do is choose your niche and city. Again, think of the money aspect, think of the amount of traffic, the clients, all that should come into play because you want to make this the most viable. And if it's something that, maybe it's a niche you're more familiar with, then maybe you want to choose that. If you're familiar with roofing, maybe you want to do it that way. If you're familiar with a bigger niche or you just want to go after the bigger money play, then do it that way. The next is to buy the domain and hosting. And again, you want to think of the domain, you want to have the location as the first part or the last part, and then the actual niche in the domain. So make sure you're setting the domain up correctly. Again, Tampa Bay roofing repair, accounting for small businesses or something like that in Tallahassee, wherever, just make sure you have those components in the name. The next is to build and structure the website. So this is becoming more and more easy. You can use, this is Perplexity Labs that I created this presentation in. You can build websites and landing pages in Perplexity. There's Lovable. You can build websites and pages in Lovable. There's a lot of apps out there that you can build entire websites and pages without knowing any coding, with just giving it a prompt. So it's a lot easier to set this up than it ever used to be. The next is you're going to add local SEO content. Again, you're going to do keyword research and make sure you're adding that local SEO content, because that is how you're going to rank and drive traffic. There's tools out there. There's Ahrefs, there's SEMrush, there's Google AdWords that's free. The other two are not free, but they do have free tools in there. So you want to make sure that you're doing the proper keyword research when you're setting up your pages. The next is set up tracking and lead capture. Again, you want to have an opt-in form to capture leads, and then you can then approach businesses with those leads and sell them to them. So that's how this whole thing works. And the next is if you want to rent or even sell the site. So again, you can approach those same businesses that you're getting leads from. If they like the leads, ask them if they want to actually rent out the entire site. Or if it's a big enough business, they may want to buy it. And you could do just, you could do a big purchase, which would be really, really financially beneficial and lucrative. Here are some niche selection tips that you want to keep in mind. So like I mentioned before, you want to keep in mind high value services or high value niches. So HVAC, plumbing, roofing, these have high lead values, and a lot of them. There's a lot of big customer base. But again, you can also target smaller customer bases with even higher lead value, plastic surgery, lawyers, accountants, things like that, where they may want leads, especially if they're newer. They're not going to have that client base, so you may be able to sell a lot of leads that way. The next is mid-sized cities. So target mid-sized cities because it's going to be a lot less competition than huge cities. It's a lot more competitive. So in terms of ranking and getting your website ranked high, because this whole works from getting your website ranked high in search and in AI overviews and all that stuff. If you're not getting ranked because it's too competitive, then you're not going to generate any leads, and people certainly aren't going to want to rent your website from you. That's where the key to all this is. And lastly, urgency based. You can consider this, so if you want to do, again, like roofing repairs around hurricane season, that's urgency based. But they also would perform, they would have higher conversion rates and perform best. So just think about it like that: emergency dental work, what do you need, I don't even know, like DUI lawyers, like things that people would need like ASAP. You can kind of target on that urgency and get a lot more leads that way as well. So something to kind of consider. All right, here is a simple structure when you're going to build out your website, right? You want to have the essential pages, the home page, and which is basically just your home page can have a little bit about your actual target niche. And then on the home page, you can even have your services on there, but you want to have breakout of services pages, but you can have an overview of kind of your services on there. And then you can have either quote forms, call buttons on there. You definitely want to make sure you have an opt-in form on your homepage as well, so people can submit their lead information. So you want to do an opt-in, get a free guide or the top best things to consider when buying a home or something like that. Just so something that people need, usually is something urgency based, give them the reason to opt in. Or maybe you just want to do a feed hey, put your information here and we'll have someone reach out to you. That can be as simple as that. If it's urgency based, then you go with that lead and try to sell it to somebody. You want to have an about section as well, which helps build legitimacy. You want to have a contact section, and then you want to have a location section. So the location section is kind of tough because you're not going to have an actual physical location, but the location is important to ranking your website and building authority. So you have to put a location in there. So I would recommend doing, if there's a local workspace, co-working space, you can use that location. So you can use a local library location. It just has to be in the area of the city. So it's not going to matter that much. You don't want to use like someone's house or something like that. Use some type of shared space location, but it'll help build authority with your website. So that is the basic build out. This is probably the home page is the most important, and the services pages are the most important, because you want to build out an entire page for every single service with those keywords on it and local keywords on it. Same thing with your home page. It has to have a bunch of local keywords on there as well. And a lot of it is, a lot of it is just building authority with what you're talking about, giving people insight, tips, tactics, and, just helpful information, and then giving them a solution, which would be, maybe a call button or a quote form or some type of opt-in form is going to be their solution. You're probably not going to have a call button because you're not going to be wanting to be fielding calls. But if you sell this site, then they're going to want to have a call button on here. Now, here's where the magic really happens with all this. And what I use specifically for this is Arvo for content, because you're going to want to have a blog section, which I didn't mention that in the last section, but that is going to be important to driving traffic back to your site, linking all the pages together, and then helping you rank. So you want to create SEO friendly blogs for the keywords that you're trying to rank for your local keywords. So how that is going to basically work is you're going to have, your website pages. You're going to have, your home page. You're going to have your services page. But then you're going to have your blogs that you're creating, right? And these are going to be targeting specific keywords, specific keyword clusters. But then what you're going to do is you're going to link these blogs together with internal links, so if they're wherever applicable, but you're also going to have internal links that go to your services pages. You're going to have internal links that go to your homepage. You're going to have internal links that go to the opt-in page or opt-in form. And this is going to all link all this stuff together and increase your ranking, because you're going to be able to release blogs one a day, multiple times a day, very fast with these long tail bottom of funnel keywords, local SEO friendly keywords. It's going to help you rank a lot faster, and Arvo will help you do exactly that. So you're going to release these blogs. You're going to use long tail SEO friendly keywords, focus on near me or location specific terms. And then you're going to basically use Arvo again to schedule out the blog posts so that you're doing this passively. You're not doing this actively. This is kind of a set it and forget it type deal. So here's Arvo that I use. There's a link below. You can try this out for free. You can also get a discount because this is an amazing SEO tool. But basically what you're going to do is once you have those long tail keywords, you're going to go in here and you're just going to put the keyword here. If you have a title idea, you can do that. You don't have to. And then you're going to generate articles for those keywords. So here are some generations of articles to give you an idea of how this works. Here's a good one. This is for real estate in Miami. This is targeting keywords for A, real estate, new home buyers, and B, the Miami area. So this is good. This top portion is ideal for AI overviews and AI search. So it's going to help you rank not only on Google, but in AI search. It's talking about the location. It has internal links here to other pages. It has excerpts. You can include YouTube videos, has images with alt text. And the nice thing is you can include your brand assets in here if you want. You don't have to, but you can. Or it'll just generate SEO friendly articles with the information that you give it based on the keyword. And then once you have the articles, you set up an automation where it is as simple as this. So you would basically set up a new automatic blog campaign, and we're just going to do test campaign here, enable auto blog, which we're going to do full automation mode. So we're going to give it a feed, which is either going to be keywords, a website, an RSS feed, or a YouTube channel. And then it's going to generate articles from that feed and automatically publish it. So the best thing probably to do is do a keyword feed, but then you can have it set to publish whenever you want. Now you can include the integration, which is going to be the website that you just created. You can include social media if you want, and then you set the interval every day, every month, every 6 hours. But you can also have how many articles per interval. So if I do every day, I do 6 articles every day, 12 articles every day, whatever I want to do. And then once this is set up, this is going to work completely passively. So you're going to be releasing articles usually at least daily. And then all the while, it's going to improve your ranking of your website and get you a lot more traffic, and then passively get you leads. And then once you have enough leads, you can sell them. Once your website is ranked high enough, then you can rent the site or sell the site, whatever you want to do. But as a recap, here are some of the options like I was talking about. You can rent the site for whatever you decide per month. Usually it's going to be the bigger the niche, the more you can rent it for. At least usually probably $1,000 a month. I mean, that's $12,000 a year for you doing nothing. The other thing that you could do is pay per lead. Again, these are usually $100 a lead to, it can be as high as $2,000. It just really depends on the client, a lifetime value of the niche of the industry. So that's why this varies. The last thing that you can do is decide to flip the site. This is going to be a much bigger payday. But this is kind of then, once you rank it, you sell it, then you're done, hands off, you get the payout. And then you can do this again and again and again with another site. But here are some common mistakes and why this could trip you up. So make sure you're not doing these low lead value niches. So don't pick leads or don't pick niches with super low lead value. So like, for instance, like a coffee shop. Those customers are worth $5 to $10 unless they come back again and again and again, which is hard because it's a very competitive market. Not worth your time. You want higher value leads. And usually it's like, what is the average cost per client? How much do their clients spend on average with them? HVAC, their average cost, depending on the service, could be in the thousands of dollars. So those leads are more valuable. That's why you should focus on those niches. Not to mention there's millions of houses. In a small town, there's thousands, hundreds of thousands, and those are all potential clients. So that's just something to consider. Don't rent too early. So don't rent out your site if you're not getting enough traffic, right? If it's not ranked, just focus on the leads. Focus on the leads first before you rent, while you're working to continue to improve it, because they're going to be tied. If you start getting a lot of leads, chances are your website's starting to rank higher and higher and higher. So just keep that in mind. Overbuilding. So building complex sites before they rank. Keep it simple. You don't need a crazy complex site. Not to mention, if you're doing the strategy in this document or in this video, not a document, doing the strategy where you're focusing on releasing blog content centered around the keywords that you're trying to target for, you don't need a complex site. You need something very basic. The content is going to do its job to help link to your other pages, rank your website higher. So you don't need to spend a lot of time building some crazy complex site. And ignoring mobile is the last one. So make sure your site is mobile optimized. Test it on a mobile phone, because a lot of times people build out sites and they look wonky. A lot of stuff is missing. Stuff is off sync, not centered, cut off, whatever the case may be. So make sure your site is mobile optimized. That's the one killer, the one main killer of traffic, is if your site is not mobile optimized. The algorithms can see that it's not mobile optimized. The majority of people are looking on their phones for this stuff. So if it's not mobile optimized, it's going to kill your traffic and your ranking, which is really, really important. All right, once you have this stuff all built out and you're ready to go, here's how to get your first client. Here's some really good ideas that definitely work. So the first is cold outreach methods. So you can do email campaigns to certain clients. So you can look up, people in your niche and reach out to their email. This is kind of you need to do a lot of these for it to be able to work. LinkedIn outreach, so find the businesses on LinkedIn, reach out to them that way. A lot of them are pretty used to getting reached out to on LinkedIn. So it may be a good way to reach people. A lot of stuff gets lost in email. So try LinkedIn as well. And then direct phone calls, probably the best, but sometimes the hardest, because people make it a little bit nasty to you. But those are the three main ways to try and reach out. Now, here are some ways to actually snag the client. So once you get a hold of them, okay, what do I do next? So first, you can offer a 2-week free trial. This could either be to rent out the site or just leads. Like, I would probably start with giving them some free leads. Just like, hey, here are some leads from this website that we have ranking very high. Let us know how they do, and if you want more, we can either consider A, selling you leads, B, eventually renting out the site for you. So this is a way to deliver value first to them. And then third, close the deal with results. So if you're giving them a test run of leads or a certain number of free leads and they do really well, then obviously you're going to be more apt to close. So those are the ways that work. That's how to kind of approach is to get clients and then get a hold of the clients and then close the clients. But that's it. That is the process for Rank and Rent. So you build a digital asset website. You use tools to scale fast. So you use AI to build it. You use Arvo to create that content, passively targeting those keywords. And then you just take action. Once you build it and you start collecting leads, it starts ranking higher. Reach out to clients, email, LinkedIn, phone, give them some type of incentive to use your service. A lot of them aren't going to pass up on free leads. Like, hey, here's some free leads. I'm looking to bring value first, show them the real deal, and then you're going to come back to me and want more. But that is how you do it. That's the full Rank and Rent SEO with some sneaky tactics in there that actually work in the real world, in the ever-changing SEO AI market. And this is a real world framework for exactly what to do. So keep that in mind. Again, Arvo below for free if you want to try it out. Even if you don't want to do this Rank and Rent, it's good for if you have another website for content. It's amazing for SEO. So I would definitely use it regardless of this strategy. And if you want more SEO news, recent SEO news, make sure you check out this video. It is super important with the changes that just happened with Google. So don't miss it. I'll be back soon with some more good stuff for you.